Utah's Attorney General says that he is in favor of legalizing medical marijuana. Now, Utah actually has very strict policies when it comes to marijuana. If you get caught with less than an ounce of marijuana, you could serve 6 months in jail and you have to pay a $1,000 fine. But the Attorney General, who's Mark Shurtleff, he now says, look, I went through colon cancer. It was a terrible disease. I had to go through chemotherapy. I had friends who also went through the treatment, and you vomit. You can't keep the nausea pills down. It's a terrible, terrible situation. And a lot of them smoke doobies. I didn't smoke any marijuana, but they did it and it helped with their pain. So now all of a sudden I'm in favor of legalizing it, which I think is great. Okay, I love that he's willing to have that conversation. He says that he's not going to go out of his way to create legislation, but if the legislation is created, then he will support it and he will testify in favor of it, which I like. Now, it's interesting that he comes out in favor of legalizing marijuana after he goes through a terrible illness and he experiences how horrible it is to go through chemotherapy and only have something like nausea pills to help you with the pain and with the vomiting.
Right. It is a classic Republican response. They never give you any degree of empathy, sympathy, whatever it might be, until it happens to them. And they're like, oh my God, I didn't know. It turns out marijuana could be medicinal. And these people aren't all faking it. It turns out they really have nausea and that marijuana actually helps them. Oh, well then now that I've gone through it, well then okay, I'm in favor of it. Before when it applied to you, I didn't give a rat's ass. But now that I'm affected by it, oh yeah. And even then, what a profile in courage. I mean, I won't introduce it. I'm a Republican, right?
Right.
But if you introduce it, then maybe I'll vote yes. Why? Are you not merciful? You know what this reminds me of? Rick Santorum introduces legislation to cap medical liability at $250,000. His wife has a back problem. She's sued for $500,000. Mm-hmm. When they say, well, wait a minute now, your wife sued for twice as much as the legislation you are proposing. He said, yeah, but that was my wife.
Oh, God.
Okay, there you have it. That's Republican 101.
Look, I agree with you, okay, but I think it's a little unfair to compare him to Santorum because...
First of all, it's a little unfair to compare anyone to Santorum. So I get that.
Agreed. But, you know, with this Attorney General, it's really easy to have those misconceptions about marijuana, especially if you've never smoked marijuana before. A lot of people buy into the hype and they think, oh, marijuana is never used for medicinal purposes. There are no medical benefits to it, right? And you buy into that propaganda that people feed you constantly. And I think that's what happened with him. And the only thing that annoys me about him is the fact that now he's in favor of legalizing marijuana, and then he tries to act like he's never smoked it. Like, he claims he hasn't smoked it. I don't believe him. He's definitely smoked it.
See, that's funny because I flip on that. I don't know. Because, you know, he's a Republican legislator. He gets caught smoking it. They're not going to give a damn that he had cancer. His own party's going to write him out of town. You know what I'm saying? So he might have gutted it out. The one part I didn't believe him at all is like, my friends who smoked it, of course, went out of town, out of the state, where it would be legal.
No one went out of the state. No one went out of Utah to find that medical marijuana.
Yeah, you drove all the way to where? California? Where'd you drive? You drove all the way? No, you didn't. Okay. No, you guys. And like, he probably observed them smoking the marijuana in the same room, which was a small room, so he could also... Look, and by the way...
What was that?
I don't even know. By the way, I've never gotten high off of it. I don't know how to smoke it. I'm a disaster. Anyway... I don't blame him. Don't get me wrong. The dude had cancer, okay?
He had colon cancer. He went through chemotherapy. If you wanted to smoke a doobie, I say smoke a doobie. It'll help you out.
Yeah. Or you were in the room, or you were lying about it. You know, like,
or you hotboxed the car.
People, somebody wrote me an email like, but Cenk, you don't understand about Wiener. He lied to him. He even lied to Rachel Maddow. He was on her show and lied to her. I'm so amused by that, man. Do you know how many times congressmen and senators have lied to me? Like, I find out later, oh, it turns out that Democratic or Republican congressman didn't really mean that. Would I be like, oh my God, he lied to me. Of course he lied to you. Anyway, so if this guy smoked pot and then he lied about it, I don't give a damn at all, man. Smoke all the pot you want, lie all you want about it. If other people are going to be a dick to you, who cares? Lie to them.